Times like these, we need all the help we can get. And that's why it's so important to connect with our ancestral medicine women, healers, curanderas, and brujas at this time for feminine healing, embodiment, love, and support. Hello, my name is Angelia Santiago. I am the face and creator of Ancestors Mama, where I like to dive deep into taboo spiritual cultural topics, especially pertaining to ancestral and generational healing. And today we're going to be talking about connecting with our feminine ancestors, especially those that are healers, curanderas, brujas, medicine women. So, the way this came about is through my own journey and my own healing of reconnecting with my ancestors and reigniting the feminine touch in that. I realized in my own journey through ancestral healing that the narrative became very aggressive and highly masculine, where I lost touch with my feminine side and I forgot to add joy and pleasures as part of my healing, as part of my growth. So many times, unfortunately, we think that healing, as much as we say and know that it's not linear, but we come to it from such a mental perspective of once we do this and then we can do that, or once we do that, then we're healed. And unfortunately, this type of thinking is conditioned into us since young, where we believe that love and support is transactional, when actuality, obviously, it's not. And so I have been working very deeply with my ancestral medicine women for a little over a year now, building that relationship and connecting with your ancestors. Ancestor veneration, it's all about relationships, especially when connecting with your feminine ancestors. They help us with the embodiment of not only our boundaries and understanding what we need for love and support, but really embodying the full range of emotions to process our healing, to process our growth and our soul's evolution for whatever that may be, how it may look to you. And so I've had a few meditations and visualizations with them where they were calling me to go to them for support, especially those of us who are healing the mother wound. It's a theme that I have been noticing a lot lately within the healing community about healing the mother wound or healing toxic family cycles and patterns. And although these are things that we can go about it in our own individual experience of healing, we have to remember that these things are relationships, and these relational issues require relationship, require support, require community. And my feminine ancestors, my medicinal feminine ancestors, were reminding me of that. And although at times like these, we're in times of chaos, of anger, of fear, with what's going on in the world collectively, at these injustices, even on an individual level, going back to the past and trying to heal and mend old wounds, there's this anger boiling up at injustices. And although anger is such a beautiful, potent medicine that when used right, it is warranted and it is very therapeutic and healing, they were reminding me of how to balance this, that when we go in a hyper masculine way and thinking so logically that we need to fix and heal and mend things, and it's as if it's on this never ending cycles, as if we're not good enough, they remembered me to come back home, especially at this time since we're in Cancer season, which is all about home, hearth. It's about love, support, family, protection, and ancestral lineage, connecting with our ancestors, healing ancestral trauma. And so I was sitting at my altar and they were reminding me of the embodiment of my practice, embodying the full range of our emotions in our healing, whether it's on a good day or on a bad day. And that remembering in these full range of emotions to allow peace and enjoy in those moments, that we can process our healing, we can be support of our own feelings and acknowledging and validating our anger and going to others who are supportive invalidating our feelings. And if some of us who are tending to certain wounds, like the mother wound or whatever it may be in your own experience, and we don't really have a physical manifestation or experience of a motherly archetypal energy that is loving and supporting, this is when we can especially go to them for these examples of healing. And one thing that I realized on my journey in healing with my feminine ancestors is how loving and supportive they are, how they always want me to come back home, and how highly critical we are even on our healing journey. You know, those of us who are reconnecting with our roots and reconnecting with our ancestors, we realize how back before colonization that the matriarch medicine was so highly revered. And this is something that, as we're coming back to our ancestors, we have to remember within ourselves that we're never going to be perfect, obviously so, but healing is a journey, and it's not about the results. It's not about the expectations. So many times we have such high expectations of ourselves because we are used to this transactional kind of love. And this is why it's so like medicinal and working with our feminine ancestors. They remind us to remember that we don't have to always have it all together. And whatever may be going on in the world, to come back home, to remember to go out in nature, and that if we need to cry or scream in a pillow or outside off a cliff, to do so, to really embody the full range of our emotions and to go to them in this healing. Because too many times on our healing journey, it's as if because we've done so much healing on our own, we've done so much work, that we have this mindset because of the patriarchal society that we live in, that it's all up to us. And their love and support is reminding us that no, to go to them with our problems for this healing, for this rebirth of our souls, and remembering who we are, right? What I love about working with my feminine medicinal medicine women, healers, bruja ancestors, is their feminine touch to everything. To not only helping me remind me who I am and that I don't have to have it all together, but in this approach of flow, of balance, of honoring and embodying our full range of emotions, that there's so much power and wisdom that comes with them. And that's why I feel so passionate in speaking to you and hopefully inspiring you guys to work with your feminine ancestors and calling them in, calling your curanderas, calling your healers, calling the medicine women of your lineage. And because us women, our cycles are so quite closely aligned with the cycles of Earth, and this is why our feminine ancestors, the medicine women of our lineage, were so revered. Because of this, there is such wisdom, deep wisdom and medicine that comes in working with them like no other. I can't tell you how many downloads and epiphanies and just inspiring, exhilarating moments I've had and full releases of emotions that I've had with them, because I felt so held and supported. And I can feel the power of their medicine. I can feel the power of just them banding together and holding me. And they reminded me that, like, as much as I know that I can see that there's a pattern in my pain, to remember to witness and acknowledge my own pain. It's not about just going straight to the root cause. It's about being in the moment, being present, fully embodying our emotions and not dismaying them. And as much as that, as obviously, the more we do that, the easier we can process our emotions. And the more we do that with their help, with their support, the faster and easier that can be done. There could be so many times that we witness and validate our own emotions, and it doesn't feel as cathartic when we know we have a support. And sometimes we can't go to our friends or family, or if we're on the journey of healing our mother wound, as I had an example of before, sometimes we don't have those prime examples of that support, of that tribe, of that family. And this is when we can go to them. This is when we're feeling lonely, when we're feeling as though we don't have anyone. This is the purpose of our feminine ancestors. This is the purpose of our medicine women, so they can heal us, so we can lay our burdens onto them. And lastly, I will say one thing they also reminded me of, as much as that it's beautiful to validate our anger and the injustices that we are currently going through as a collective or on our own individual journeys, to remember the joy and peace in between. That as powerful and beautiful it is to honor and embrace our emotions in the moments, whether it be past, present, and whatnot, that to remember to enjoy the little things. And the reason why our feminine ancestors' medicine is and was so potent and revered is not only because, yes, the wisdom that comes from them is so innately connected to the earth, but also because they continued that relationship with earth. They continued that relationship with Mother Earth, Madre Tierra. They continued their relationship in releasing and learning and connecting to the trees, to the plants, and also their own ancestors, and revering and understanding their knowledge as well, knowing that as human beings, we don't have it all together, and it's not all up to us. And if we lay down our burdens to them, we can receive so many more blessings. And I cannot tell you how many downloads, epiphanies I've received in working with my feminine ancestors, how truly powerful it has been in working with them. And one of my favorite ways to working with them, that I want to get into some ways you can really connect in working with your ancestral medicine women, healers, curanderas, and such, is through music. Because with music, we can really embody and put ourselves fully in our emotions. So my advice would be in this aspect is, at least once a week or whenever you feel called to put on some music that reminds you or makes you feel like that healer, makes you feel like that medicine woman, so you can embody their wisdom, so you can embody their healing, so you can embody their knowledge, and it moves through you physically. Because again, feminine is not about just in the mental, it is about coming into our body, coming into our heart, feeling the full range of our emotions, right? And having such music that really moves us, mind, body, and soul, and feeling and believing in this magic. And another way that I like to take this to a whole nother level is using my maraca. I'll shake it and tap it on certain areas that I feel blocked, and I can really envision and visualize them healing with me as I'm taking out of any stagnant or blocked energy. Speaking of stagnant and blocked energies, because we're talking about working with the medicine women and the healers of our lineage, having a practice of regular baños, limpiezas, or cleansing baths is especially important. Again, call on them when you're doing this. It's going to make your ritualistic cleansing bath that much more potent and powerful. I'm telling you, especially when you're going to them with a certain problem that you're needing to be released and cleansed. And so, with the theme of Cancer season and motherly archetypes in mind, have that in mind when you're doing these baths and baños, that you need to be loved and supported, that you need that nurturing energy, that you need their wisdom and their healing from earth, from their own medicine of how many times they have worked with plants themselves, correct? And another way I like to work with that is nature in itself. Obviously going outside when I can, calling in my ancestors, working with flowers. I'm under this hibiscus tree, feminine things like that, flower essence. And one way you can work with it physically as well is with seashells, especially because the ocean is so highly attributed to feminine energy, because the ocean is very cleansing, it's tied to the moon. And obviously, our ancestors knew this and they held this wisdom and knowledge in themselves. So if you know, you know, working with cowrie shells is really potent and powerful when connecting with your feminine ancestors, when connecting with feminine medicine. And if you can't get your hands on a cowrie shell, if you can go to the beach, if you can find any type of stone, even not at the beach, just in nature, walking, hiking, and having that stone that you know you're going to specifically work with your ancestors, your medicinal ancestors. Or if you have a stone or a seashell of some sort that has been passed down to you. I have this seashell that was from my grandmother. I believe she got this from Puerto Rico, where my family is from. So if you can work with that as well. And again, when you're using these tools, calling in your medicine women, your healers, your curanderas, ancestors, and working with you in healing any type of ailment, especially emotionally, any type of emotional issues or blocks, or if you're feeling the weight of the world with whatever may be going on, again, especially with things going on at this time, that it may feel as though there are so many injustices happening, and our ancestors themselves have witnessed so many injustices, and asking them for their help and how they healed and processed these injustices. And if you have any crystals as well that you would like to anoint for that specific purpose, that's good as well. Again, you can use all of these in meditation. And lastly, if you have any type of anointing oil or spiritual cologne that you have specifically, that you're going to use specifically with connecting with your curandera or healing feminine ancestors, you can do that as well. And speaking of downloads that I received, one thing I love about them is not only the medicine I receive, mentally and emotionally, but how they've helped me heal with plant medicine. And one way is every time I work with them, I get some form of download in creating my oils or my Florida water and things like that. And this oil specifically, my self-love oil, came from this place of needing that nurturing motherly support and the wisdom and healing that came from working with my feminine ancestors. So I highly, highly recommend, if you have an ancestral practice or you're just starting to really connect with your feminine ancestors, especially if you consider yourself a woman and you're going through certain things, whether it be healing the mother wound or healing your womb or healing any type of boundary issues, security, sense of self-worthiness, they can really take that healing to a whole another level. And if things, that are going around in the world are deeply affecting you as an empathic soul, especially when it comes to injustices to women, injustices to our body, working with your feminine medicine women, your ancestors, is like, it takes your healing light years ahead. So I cannot recommend it enough. If you have any comments or questions, leave them down below. If you want to know more about my Etsy shop, I will link that down below. And yeah, let me know how this lands. Let me know how this felt. If you've been working with your feminine ancestors, what has been your journey and your experience, if you've received any downloads yourself. So I hope you found this helpful. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. I'm trying to get back on making more videos like so, talking about our ancestors, talking about healing, talking about my own spiritual journey, and talking about deeper taboo spiritual and cultural topics that I don't feel that we talk about enough. So I will catch you in the next one. Have a beautiful, lovely day, and remember to take care of yourself. If you're looking to join a community full of love, support, and validation, as well as helping you reconnect with your ancestors and in building in that relationship, you can click on the link below to join.